There is a problem with Canada. And don't get me wrong, I actually love Canada. I've been to Canada more than, oh no, not more than, literally 3 times, and I've always had fun. But it's something else that is specifically wrong with Canada is the mobile data rates. It's so incredible expensive, like criminally expensive. Even nations in the Caribbean have like, not all, but most of them have even cheaper mobile data rates than Canada. And why is that? Well, we'll also explore that in this video, but I can already tell you that mobile data rates, especially for prepaid, is super expensive. Okay, that's enough teasing. Let's get started, shall we? Hi, it's Odo from Phone Tourist here, where we talk about everything related to traveling with your phone, such as Canadian SIM cards. If videos like this sound interesting to you, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Okay, so let me just give you a quick 1-minute summary of everything you need to know about Canadian SIM cards so you can get up to speed. So in Canada, you actually have 15 SIM cards which are easily accessible for travelers, meaning that you do not have to order the SIM card and wait up to, let's say, 2 weeks to get them. The 4 mobile operators, the nationwide operators, are Rogers, Telus, Bell, and Freedom Mobile, although it does not have native coverage in all provinces/territories. You can get a Canadian SIM card for 10 Canadian dollar, although 2 of these cost 20 Canadian dollar, and they give you credit as well. Whereas all the older SIM cards give you no credit, and some give you like 10 if you're lucky. There are no specific tourist SIM cards in Canada, although you can buy SIM cards at some airports, which are Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver, but these SIM cards are pricey, either because they include a plan, plans are expensive here in Canada, or because, well, they charge tourists more because they can. While 5G has been available in Canada for a few years now, they are not available for prepaid customers, and be aware that some mobile operators, and then I'm referring to the MVNOs or sub-brands, limit you to 3G speeds, which is 3 megabits per second, or literally 3G, as in, well, not even 4G. So be aware of that. I will mention that in this video. And as I mentioned, plans and mobile data rates are expensive in Canada, especially for prepaid. So I hope I stayed within my 1-minute summary. But let's talk a little bit more about the operators again and the SIM card prices. Well, like I said, there are 15 SIM cards which are easily accessible for travelers, which I mentioned already. There's a SIM cards you do not have to order online, or you do not have to go, let's say, 20 kilometers up or down in order to find a SIM card. Get these easily from the mobile operator stores, resellers, or grocery stores, stuff like that. There are 15 options. I already mentioned the big 4, but there are 11 more, which I will tell you about now. Cheddar Mobile, which is a water sub-brand, and that is limited to 3G speed, meaning 3 megabits per second. Then you have Fido, which is a water sub-brand, which is, yeah, all good, no limited speeds. Then you have Koodo, which is a Telus sub-brand, which costs 20 Canadian dollar, all the orders is 10, which is a Telus sub-brand. I know that Telus and Koodo, they limit the speeds to 100 megabits per second, which is actually fast enough. But compared to, let's say, the Fido, no, Cheddar, which is like 3 megabits per second, yeah, you don't want that. I promise you, you do not want that. Lucky Mobile, which is a Bell sub-brand, which also limits speeds to 3 megabits per second. Public Mobile, which is a Rogers sub-brand, also 3, which limits your speed to 3G. PC Mobile is a Bell MVNO with no throttle speeds. Petro Canada Mobility, which is a Rogers 3G MVNO, meaning that you are restricted to 3G. But 7-Eleven is a Telus MVNO, limited to 3 megabits per second. And Virgin Plus, which used to be known as Virgin Mobile Canada, is a Bell sub-brand without its speeds. All SIM cards except for Koodo and Lucky Mobile will cost you 10 Canadian dollar, and the 2 that I just mentioned will cost you 20, and they will give you credit. At least for Koodo. I'm not 100% sure about Lucky on top of my head. Even though I mentioned these 15 SIM cards which are 13 SIM cards which are easily accessible, I would actually tell you to avoid the following SIM cards: Freedom Mobile, Cheddar, Lucky, Public Mobile, Petro Canada, and Speedcard 7. And that's because they either restrict you to 3G, the 3G network, or to 3 megabits per second, which, I mean, there are some countries out there in, let's say, South Asia will even get you faster speeds than that. So yeah, even though these are options, I would avoid these SIM cards altogether. Before we go a little bit further, I actually want to tell you more about the SIM card price that I mentioned in the introduction. So what did I actually mean with expensive? Where you have to spend at least, and I say at least, 29 Canadian dollar in order to get 1.5 gigabytes of data. Yes, 1.5, not 15, not 100 in some countries, 1.5. So basically 30 Canadian dollar, which you have some currencies here in the US, a US dollar, euro, and British pound. Well, I'm pretty sure that in almost all countries that you're watching this from, you can get 1.5 gigabytes of data for some a bit less or much less than here. Like I said, mobile data is expensive, but there are some options for you to save money, which are some travel eSIMs and travel SIM cards. But I'll mention that later because, well, I first want to explain more about Canadian SIM cards to you. Okay, so where can you get yourself a SIM card? If you go with the big four, so the nationwide SIM cards, which will be Rogers, Telus, Bell, and Freedom Mobile, you go to the stores and you can get SIM cards there, or from resellers like Best Buy or the electronic shops, phone stores, they will sell them to you. Now, some of these sub brands, the premium sub brands, which would be Koodo, Fido, and there's another that I cannot really come up with, Virgin Plus, they also have stores where you can get their SIM cards in their stores. The MVNOs, you have to get them from resellers, and some MVNOs are brand specific. For example, Speak at 7-Eleven, you have to go to a 7-Eleven, or Petro Canada Mobility, which is a gas station chain. You have to go to the gas station in order to get their SIM cards, so be aware of that. Like I said, SIM cards are also sold at 3 airports, Montreal, Vancouver, and Toronto. The other airports, let's say Edmonton and Ottawa, Ontario. No, Ottawa, that's the city, yes. They don't sell SIM cards there, or at least not from what I know. If you do know that they sell SIM cards there, make sure to drop it in the comments down below, because then I learned something new. And SIM card registration is not required here in Canada, although some resellers may ask you for your name or email address to create the account for you. So let's say my Rogers account or my Bell account, but it should not be required. And if they say, well, I cannot continue without that, just go to another reseller, and if the other reseller says the same thing, if you have the time, go to another one, or just give that information. But you are not required to hand over your passport like in most countries nowadays in order to be registered in the central database. So that's cool to know. Okay, so let's talk about speeds here in Canada, mobile data speeds. Every time when I talk about the big four mobile operators, I do it in a specific order, which is the order of the customer numbers they have, or subscriber numbers. So Rogers is the largest, followed by Telus, Bell, Freedom Mobile, and then you have all the MVNOs that I usually do in alphabetic order. But what about speeds? Is Rogers the fastest, or is it the slowest? Well, it certainly isn't the slowest, but actually Telus is the fastest. And according to the latest speed test market analysis, Telus has a download speed of around 95 megabits per second, followed by Bell with 86, Rogers with 71, and Freedom Mobile with 45 megabits per second. Meaning that if you care about speeds, you probably want to go with Telus. But worry not, I will give my SIM card recommendations a little bit later, where I will also take coverage and prices into account. So what about speeds in cities in Canada? Well, if you want to get the fastest speeds, you want to go to Calgary, not just for the speeds, but Calgary is actually very nice, especially Banff Park. We really have to go there. Highly recommend. The fastest speeds you can find in Calgary with the download speed of 98, followed by Toronto with 95, Edmonton 92, Vancouver 92 as well, and Quebec 86. So which mobile operator has the best coverage? Well, if we look again at the speed test market analysis, no, in this case the speed test awards, they give a coverage score, where Telus actually won again with a score of 90, followed by Bell with 85, and then we have Rogers with 67 on top of my head. But what about 5G coverage and 5G speeds? Well, I can tell you about that in this video, but prepaid customers cannot choose 5G because it's still a premium product, and I can tell you they charge a premium. These mobile operators charge a premium for that. Like there are plans with like 100 Canadian dollars out there, which is crazy. Lucky you don't have to spend 100 Canadian dollars on a prepaid plan, but your data allowance is like up to 8 gigabytes of 10 if you're lucky. So yeah, Canada is not nice for mobile data. We better off in Southeast Asia, for example. Okay, so what is the best SIM card? Which SIM card do I actually recommend? Well, based off what you already heard about speed and coverage, I would actually recommend going with Telus because, well, it's the fastest and has the best coverage. And I would also recommend Koodo, which is a Telus sub-brand, which has full access to the Telus network, but both Telus and Koodo restrict speeds to 100 megabits per second, which is fast enough, and most of the time, unless you're standing close to the antenna, you will not get much faster than 100 megabits per second, especially without 5G NRSs. Okay, so in terms of eSIMs, when we talk about the big mobile operators, Rogers and Freedom Mobile, they do have eSIMs, but they are not available to prepaid customers. Telus and Bell have eSIMs, which you can as a prepaid customer, but you should not get that eSIM if you can, because like I said, mobile data rates are expensive here. We'll talk about some plans in a bit, but I have some other recommendations that I mentioned earlier, which are travel eSIMs and travel SIM cards. If your phone supports eSIM, you want to watch this section. If your phone does not support eSIM, skip to the travel SIM card part. eSIMs won't be available to you if your phone doesn't support it. What I find kind of crazy and ridiculous is that the travel eSIMs are actually cheaper than almost, no, not almost, actually every option that the mobile operators here in Canada charge you, which most countries it's the other way around, where you go with the travel eSIM or travel SIM cards for convenience. Not in Canada. You can save money by doing so and actually can get faster speeds than prepaid customers. They often do not throttle the speeds of roaming partners, which again is unusual. But I'm here to give you the best options available here and the best prices. So these are the 3 travel eSIMs I recommend. The first one is the ones from Allo, which I love, and a lot of phone travel readers love too, which is the Canada eSIM from Allo. You have these 4 different variants, 1 GB for 7 days, and then you have 3, 5, 10 GB for 30 days. The 1 GB version and 10 GB version are very popular with PTW readers because, well, at least that's what I've been told by our readers. And like I said, in order to get 10 GB of data, you have to spend at least 55 Canadian dollar, whereas with Allo you won't even spend more than 13 US dollar, and you can save like quite some money by getting one of these eSIMs. If you want to get yourself an eSIM, go to ptw.link/Canada-Allo. If you use this link, you will get exclusive Allo deals that are not available anywhere else. So make sure to use that. But I also have 2 other options for you, which are eSIMs from Nomad, where you have a bit more options, like 1 GB for 7 days, 1, 3, 5, 10 GB for 30 days, and 10 GB for 60 days. And if you use code AUDU123 upon checkout, you will get 3 USD off. Or if you use a different currency, it might be between 2.5 or 3.5, depending on the currency you use, which is a nice discount code. And for the Allo eSIMs, you don't need a code. Links will automatically give you the best options available. The last one I recommend is the ones from Holafly, where you have 10 GB and 20 GB for 30 days. Like I said, no mobile operator here in Canada except the ones that throttle your speeds to 3 megabits per second will give you 20 GB. And if you use code PhoneToWiz, you will get 5% off your order. Alright, the travel SIM cards that I recommend for Canada are the ones from SIM Corner. They have 4 amazing options where they actually use American SIM cards from Verizon, AT&T and T-Mobile, which somehow are much cheaper than actually getting yourself a Canadian SIM card. Use the link ptw.link/Canada/travel where you get my recommendations. If you use code PhoneToWiz or use the links, you will get the best offers available, which are exclusive and not available anywhere else. So yes, that's how you can save some money with Canadian SIM cards or with SIM cards/eSIMs in Canada. Okay, so how to top up your SIM card? Well, in most cases, you actually have to get yourself a top-up voucher because most mobile operators only accept Canadian debit and credit cards. So I will show you the top-up instruction on the screen. It's usually dialing a code, a USSD code, or you have to do code which is, let's say, *114* and then the voucher code and then the pound key or hashtag, and then yeah, you have recharged your SIM card. And you might think, well, let me just use the app of the mobile operators. Well, the same restriction applies where they only accept Canadian debit and credit card. Now let's talk about the plans. Well, I'm not going to go to all the 30 mobile operators because this video is long enough, and then this video will be much longer than it already is. So I will only focus on 5 different options, which are the big 4 and Koodo, which is one of the SIM cards I recommend to get it with Telus. But I just want to give you all these options so you can see, well, how the prices are basically the same and the offers are basically the same, because there's no incentive for the Canadian mobile operators to charge lower prices because, well, why would they, apparently. Okay, let's start with Rogers. Their plans have no specific name, it's just called plan or prepaid plan, and you have these options, 15 Canadian dollar up to 55 Canadian dollar. You will see that you have to spend at least 30 Canadian dollar to get 500 megabits per second. So when I was saying that, you know, things are expensive, I was not lying, I was not lying. You also get local minutes, which are nationwide, and you also get SMS, and you also see that slash international SMS, which means that you can text to any country around the world. So not to specific countries, let's say the US or Mexico only, every country you want, which is quite cool. But we all use like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Instagram to text, so it's not worth the money that you spend on the plans. At least that's what I would say. And every plan is valid for 30 days. Then we have Telus with text, data and talk. Yeah, well, different order, but still, these are the plans that are available. Again, it starts from 30 Canadian dollar, gets 500 megabytes, we're up to 55 Canadian dollar, where you get 8 gigabytes too. Didn't we see this earlier with Rogers too? Competition, no competition here in Canada. Anyway, we have minutes, have also international minutes, although international minute is only to US, but it excludes the states of Alaska and Hawaii. So if you go to those places, you'll be charged, well, international car rates, which are this, but any other state like Montana, Wyoming, California is included with your plan. Quite cool. We have local/international minutes, local/international SMS to any country. Again, every plan is valid for 30 days. And we have Bell with voice and data plans from 30 Canadian dollar again with 500 megabytes with up to 55 Canadian dollar and 8 gigabytes of data. I told you, I'm not joking when I said that every mobile operator is charging you almost the same, at least the big ones. Then you have minutes, SMS, all the same, and these plans are valid for 1 month. So let's say you buy the plan on the 28th of February, it will expire on the 28th of March, and so forth, instead of 30 days like the other two mobile operators. And we have Freedom Mobile, which is surprisingly a little bit cheaper than the 3 options we mentioned so far. Then we have the prepaid by month plans, 24 Canadian dollar, you actually get no data, you have to spend at least 29, then you get 1.5 gigabytes of data, which is 1 gigabyte more than all the other operators so far. With minutes, SMS, you know the drill, valid for 1 month. Then we have Koodo. I selected the 4G base plans because Koodo also has the 3G one, which is on 3G speeds up to 3 megabits per second. You don't want that. I'm really telling you, you don't want that. Go with the 4G ones at least. Starting from 30 Canadian dollar up to 75. We have some variation here, and then you can get up to 9.5 gigabytes of data, unlimited nationwide minutes, SMS, all valid for 30 days. So that's what you basically need to know about Canadian SIM cards. We went through things quite quickly, and you might think it's already long, but it could be much longer. If you want to know more about all the other options, make sure to go to ptw.link/Canada-guide, where you can read about all the other options. But if you think, well, reading is boring, that's for nerds, worry not. I also have the Canadian SIM card Explorer series, where I talk about each mobile operator individually, and then I tell you all plans available, which you can watch on the playlist somewhere on the screen. And if you are watching this video on the phonetrowiz.com website, there will be a playlist down this video where you can watch those videos. So which Canadian SIM card are you gonna go with? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to use the link/coupon codes when getting a travel eSIM to save money, because that's what we do. Alright, that's it for today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.